Yes, my friends, and welcome to the Jon Mahon Show, streaming live across the world right now. And we are not going to waste any time today whatsoever, are we, Ollie?
We're not wasting any time. We got a live guest ready to go.
And waiting. So, my friends, joining us straight away on the Jon Mahon Show, we have a man from a band that have traveled a total of 95,000 miles, driven 40,000, flown 55,000, 96 shows in 8 months with only 3 days off in India. Performed in 15 countries across 3 continents. Welcome to the show, Karan from Bloodywood!
Thank you so much, guys. It's my pleasure to be here.
It is an honor to have you on the show today, my friend. First and foremost, have you managed to sleep yet?
Absolutely, yeah. That's all I've been doing. I have such a hard time sleeping. I'm usually, only on 6 or 5 hours a day. But something has changed, I think I'm sleeping 8 hours a day ever since I came back. So that's a welcome change.
Because all those things John listed off with the intro, I saw on your Instagram post. How was it adjusting to life after that crazy year?
I think I can't answer that question yet because every day is kind of a new story.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it feels great to be home. It feels great to not wake up to a disaster to handle every day. And it's still sinking in. It's not easy once you live life at 5x the speed for 4 months and then suddenly everything just shuts down. So but I can't complain. I'm really enjoying the peace right now.
Well, you have absolutely earned it because 2023 for Bloodywood has been all gas, no brakes. And one of the things that I want to start this conversation off with is festival season. As Ollie mentioned, that Instagram post said that your largest festival audience, Download Festival, 50 to 60,000 people turning out in the United Kingdom to come and see you. But that was just one of many festivals that you're at this summer. Hellfest, Grasspop, just to name a few. I mean, what was that festival season run like for you guys, like constantly going to new countries almost on a daily basis?
Well, this is our second European festival run. The first one was back in 22, but this one was by far more difficult because even though we had more days off, but we were already we'd already been on the road for 2 months. We played our club shows in Europe in March, and then we went to the US, and then we came back to Europe for the festival shows. I feel that we were very, very prepared for it.
Good.
Because we were warmed up throughout. We were much more confident this time because it wasn't our first time playing to large audiences at festivals. But nothing can prepare you for for 50,000 or 60,000 people in front of you when you enter the stage. Nothing in the world can make you feel, oh, this is just another day in the job.
That's amazing. And I mean, like, as you said, you were very well prepared for this run because given the setup that you have to transport from show to show and like the uniqueness of some of your instruments as well. I mean, like if a doll goes missing, you can't exactly hit at one of the other bands and say, hey, have you got one that we can borrow? So like how stressful is it getting equipment from place to place and, checking everything's making its way safely? Is that the main stress?
It's my main stress for sure. But you know what? The doll did go missing.
No.
Yeah, that happened in Poland. It was our first show in the March tour, and it didn't go missing.
Right.
We forgot to pick it up from the hotel once we were leaving it. And our hotel was in Germany, and we were already in Poland, ready to play the show in the evening. And suddenly a dhol player just wakes up and says, did anyone pick up the dhol? And we're like, no, I don't play that instrument. But luckily, because we're Indian and Indians are everywhere in the world, we found a dhol player.
Let's
we found a
go.
dhol player in Poland. Yeah,
The
we
Poland
found a
Doll
druid in
Society
Poland.
turned up for you that day.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah, it was insane.
we'll
It was
put you on
insane.
the
We
guest
found,
list.
you found the instrument. We took it on rent from him for a day. The show went well, and thankfully our next show was back in Germany.
Sweet.
So we picked up the dole once again on our way back. But um, you know, we also left our double pedal, so I'm not going to leave that out. Our drummer also deserves some flack, but but double pedals are easy to come by. So yeah, it is very, very stressful, especially because we carry our own mixer.
Right.
We don't use the house mixer, and
Oh,
it's a
really?
digital system. Anything can go wrong. Many things did go wrong. Our screen stopped working, but thankfully that was amongst the last shows. So yeah, it's constantly it's a constant stress. We deal with it all the time, and we don't have a B rig yet. We're not rich enough to have a B rig,
Yeah.
a standby rig or something like that. So thankfully, the touring gods have been in our favor.
Let's go. Long may they
To,
continue. I mean, just to touch on something you mentioned then, do you take your own mixing desk because of your stage setup? Because there's so many like complex sounds within the mix that you guys just need to be able to plug in and play as opposed to figure out the system that's already there?
um, Partially, yes. But since I know a thing or two about mixing, I mixed and mastered our debut album. I know how difficult it can be for an engineer to, you know, work on a new mixer every day.
Yeah.
And
Right.
in festivals you barely get any time at all to
Yeah.
set up, right? And we don't have way too many inputs per se. We do have more inputs than most bands when it comes to the stage inputs, but we invested in a mixer very early in our career because we really wanted the best sound possible, uh, and a very consistent sound throughout. And it has really paid off because our engineer is very comfortable with the mixer. He knows our sound, and he doesn't have to learn a new system or adjust to a new system every time we play a show.
Hell yeah. And I mean, given the fact that, as you said, like this wasn't your first rodeo on festival season, like were there any big significant lessons that you learned from 2022 that you took into 2023, just in terms of, either like looking after yourselves, the band, the setup, the transitions?
Yeah, I'd say in 2023, I um, I became more comfortable with the idea of not having a bath every day. Yeah,
That's
that
the
was
main thing.
probably the hardest thing for us. And with Europe, um, it's very strange because privacy isn't really a big deal over there. When you're taking a bath or something, or even taking a shit for that matter, there are no locks in the doors, and you're supposed to take baths with other naked people in the same room. That was very difficult to get used to, but
It's a big
we
culture
managed
shock
somehow.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So we learned our lesson in 22, and we went in prepared in 23.
Nice.
So yeah, we know each other more personally,
Yeah.
even in the band.
Oh, that's so wholesome. Well, I mean, let's talk about getting to know each other because, I mean, Bloodywood, for those that don't know, I mean, like the kind of inception for this project was within parodies, if I do believe, like you doing like covers and reimagines, and that's kind of where the whole creative process kind of started. I mean, what was that early inception stage of Bloodywood where the conversations first started happening?
Well, I just quit my job in 2015. I used to be a corporate lawyer.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, it's not fun.
Yeah,
Um,
obviously.
yeah, yeah, it's not a fun job. I mean, I thought it was probably the most stressful job in the world till I started this band. And then, you know, I'd been playing in bands before 2015, and I really wanted to do something in music. Jayant, the vocalist, we used to just have fun with these covers online. We'd make these metal versions of pop songs and stuff. We'd post them online. We People started appreciating them, but that's not really what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That wasn't the end game. But when I decided to quit my job, I thought, all right, this is getting serious. We need to really make this happen. And we that's where we started searching for our sound. before putting out originals, we really wanted to know what sound is going to stick. What's going to be something that plays and is immediately recognizable, right? So and surprisingly, we just had to go back to our roots. Just
Yeah.
look at Indian folk music, Indian rhythms, and once we added we tested elements of those things in some of our covers. And they were very well received, and that's when we knew that, all right, this is the sound that we need to go for, and now let's start writing some real music. And that's when we put out originals, and then everything blew up, and here we are.
I think it was just so refreshing to hear like other sort of cultures' music mixed with like sort of genty metal, because for me it was like hadn't been done before really, as far as I'm aware. Who have been like some of your inspirations in like the metal world?
Oh, the eternal question that keeps changing, though. I'd say at that time, during 2015, I was listening to a lot of. During that time, I was listening to a lot of Periphery. Um,
Ooh.
yeah,
Nice.
I think a lot of some of the stuff that I always listen to. Insomnium is a band that comes to my mind. I love them. Of course, Alter Bridge for, you know, Alter Bridge is why I picked up the guitar, to be honest.
Let's go.
Mark Tremonti,
Mark
shout out.
Tremonti. Yeah, Mark Tremonti is my idol. If I ever meet him, I'm going to faint.
Oh,
So I
Mate,
hope
that's
that never happens.
got to happen sooner or later.
First time I ever met him, I was quite young in the industry, and he was at Download, and he was the first guitar I ever had was a Mark Tremonti PRS, like the SE
Wow.
version. And he came.
Yeah.
We did an interview with him, and he came along, but he had his PRS with him, like his actual like.
We
Custom.
just carried it into the interview.
Yeah, we had it in a case, but he like, got it out and showed us, and I was like fanboy. I was like, oh my god.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough job. To be honest, I'd not be able to interview him at all. I just wave and run,
Just Wayne's World. I'm not worthy.
But you must be sort of nearing the level that you can interact with these people, because they played at Download. I'm not sure if it was the same day as
Yeah,
you
they
this
were on
year.
the Thursday this year.
Were they? Oh,
Yeah.
so you just missed them, but I'm sure your paths will cross
thankfully.
in the future.
Thankfully.
Yeah, a lot of the members in the band met their idols during this run. That was a big difference from the shows we played in 22. This time we were much closer to our idols, and to the people we look up to.
That's awesome.
Jayant got to meet Corey Taylor. Um, yeah, and of course he had to cry,
Yeah.
but thankfully not in front of him.
Oh,
But
bless
I
him.
think it's a testament to your music, because since the album came out, I think you've gained a lot of fans, not just in our world, but in the music world as well. Because Tom Morello tweeted about you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was insane. I remember that moment when I was actually I was somewhere in the hills brushing my teeth early in the morning, and I saw that tweet, and I just spat out everything.
It's like, what? You have to check it out. It's the real Tom Morello.
Yeah, I did that too. At that time, blue ticks weren't you couldn't buy blue ticks at that time,
Yeah.
so we knew it was the real person. So,
Let's go. And I mean, I tell you what, if there's ever the potential for a collaboration later down the line, Tom Morello does love lending his licks to other bands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's a DM that could get sent that could lead to Bloodywood featuring Tom Morello.
yeah. I'm sure that's actually very interesting, because we've been in talks with a lot of people who we'd really want to collab with, and they've been very positive. So the next album is gonna have some collaborations for sure.
Ooh, let's go.
Speaking of other bands, you've toured with a couple of our friends from the show. So in UK and Europe, I think, and the UK, it was Lake Malice supporting, and then you went to America, and our friends Wargasm supported you. Like,
Yeah.
who has been some of the other your favorite bands you've played with this year? Because it must be quite a lot.
Well, so the US run was very different for us, because for us that was probably a bigger bill to be put on, if that makes sense. So there was Wargasm, there was Wended, you know, opening, and both the bands were insane.
Yeah.
They put on such an amazing show, and whenever they play festivals, you can see it. You can see how wild the crowds go, and I can't pick between them, to be honest. They're good at different things, but I would say that we've been very very lucky to have great bands play with us during our tours, and we really learn a lot from them, because uh, every band has their own story to tell.
Yeah.
And for example, Vended is such a young band. Like, they're so young, and just watching their energy on stage, we're like, holy shit, uh, we can't beat that. You can attribute that to age, being young, but that's in the amount of energy they bring on the stage. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I guess it inspires you as well.
Wargasm, yeah, Wargasm can really get the party started. They
Yeah.
they can turn any crowd that's standing like this to moshing and crowd surfing. So we learn a lot from them too. They've all been amazing. Lake Malice have always, again, they were with us for the throughout the March tour, and they're such nice, helpful people.
Yeah.
We'd love to tour with them all the time. Just having good people be with you throughout that tour makes such a difference. It makes such a, I mean, we haven't had bad people, thankfully, but we can
Hey.
imagine how that would be if we don't like each other or something like that. But that's not happened to us. They've all been amazing.
Hell yeah. And I mean, like, in terms of, as just rewinding it back to something that you just said, with the amount of bands that you're coming across and you're meeting and you're being associated with and you're hanging out with, when it has come to this point where I'm guessing conversations are starting about new music, like, I guess now you've almost got a sort of like dream wish list of like, okay, cool, if we are going to explore features on this one, like, here's the ones that we want to start like hitting up and saying like, hey, how's it going? Like, I mean, how far into the new music process are you? Because your last record was 2022, wasn't it? I do believe that dropped.
Yes. 22. It was Feb of 22. I can't believe it's been a year and a half already. But yeah. So right now we're still in the ideation phase, I'd say. I'm still writing skeletal songs.
Okay.
We haven't started writing lyrics or any of that sort yet, but we're at a very good position, because um, I learned a lot from the last album about how this process works. And it was also a journey for me, because I was trying to get the best mix out, best master out, and that process is going to be much easier this time.
Yeah.
So I'm much more confident about our timeline and our speed at which we will be able to churn out really good songs, because the seeds are there. We've got some really good ideas. We're very excited to start working on them, but the thing is, everyone's on a break right now.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, coach, I need a timeout.
yeah. But a couple of weeks in, I'm already feeling it. I need to get back to it.
Yeah.
And I probably will from tomorrow itself.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, like, as you said, you've melodically started exploring the sounds for this new record, and I'm always interested to find out, I mean, like, where was the first instrument you picked up? Like, was it something like more native to what you like were raised around, or were you straight in with the guitars on the rock music?
Well, instrument wise, yes, it was the guitar that I picked up the first, because um, when it comes to Indian folk, so there's Indian classical music and there's Indian folk music. Right?
Okay.
These are two very, very different places. All right. And no one knows this. Absolutely no one knows
Yeah,
this.
I had
I'm
no
gonna
idea
tell this
about
in
that.
this interview. No. What I'm going to tell you is something that I've never told anyone before, especially on an interview. I was actually sent by my mom to learn classical Indian vocals back when I was a kid. So that was for a couple of years.
No way.
And yeah, and that didn't work out at all, because I can't sing to save my life. So
You must learn.
yeah.
Important.
So after that, I wasn't really into music as a kid. Like, no one really is, for that matter. If you're 6 or 7 years old, you don't know what you're into.
Mm.
And then when I was in school, I really got into rock music in general and metal. And in my first year of college, I bought myself an acoustic guitar, and that's where my journey started. After that, I've just been trying to learn more instruments, even though I learn only just about enough that I can play the part of the song that I need. So if someone asks for a flute solo or something like that, I can't do anything. I can only play my songs. I can't do anything at all. So so that's how that's how I'm trying to um, manage my way through this.
Well, because I was gonna say, like, on the note of the flute playing, I mean, like what's your setup like with that live in terms of like getting the sound out there and like also like like integrating that into a rock song?
Right. So about our live setup, it's just the flute itself. And then I use an Audix OM7 mic because it's very directional. It won't pick up any feedback from the sides. And that's very important, especially when you have a 6-foot guy playing the dole right next to you. And then it goes directly into our mixer, which does a very slight pitch correction, so that the problem with wind instruments is with different changes in temperature, they bend.
Yeah, especially the woodwinds.
The notes don't really stick. Yeah. Even though I don't use woodwind, I use tin whistles, so that problem is minimized. I use them live because they tend to stick to the same tuning, but they're never perfect. So it does very slight pitch correction, and that's really it. It's a very simple setup for live. And when it comes to songwriting, um, it's a very it's very tricky. You can't just put the flute in every song at all.
Yeah.
It has to. It's a very emotional instrument, and you can't really put it in a song where you're just having fun or you're talking about very serious stuff, aggressive stuff. So it's a very, very selective thing. And the problem with the flute is, like, if you mess up one single note live, okay, everyone's gonna notice.
Does it stand out harsh?
All the eyes in the room are on you, and you start sweating like a pig. Yeah. So, which is why I always close my eyes when I'm playing the flute, or I look away from everyone else. There was this one time at I think it was Grass Pop Festival itself, where we were playing Aj, and my flute solo was up, and I was in between the flute solo, and there was this guy who started crowd surfing on another guy who was already crowd surfing. Okay.
Sick.
So yeah, it was basically the guy who was already crowd surfing was flat, and this guy was on top of him.
Oh,
okay.
Dang.
And he was obviously he was being pushed towards the stage, and this guy looks at me and does, and I fucked up. It's on video. Yeah.
The power of the crowd surfer through you.
Like,
Yeah, because I started smiling. Right?
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of hard to flute and smile at the same time.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I don't look at anyone whenever I have to play my flute part.
That's amazing. I mean, I can imagine like looking out, especially on a festival stage for a Bloodywood show. Some of the sights that you must see in the crowd must be just pure chaos, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on out there?
There are stories I can't even say publicly. The kind of things we've seen in the.
You just get off stage, you're like, did anyone else see that?
Yeah, we actually do that. Right after songs, someone's gonna run up to someone else and say, "Did you see that?" Yeah, I saw that. We can never talk about it again.
We must never share that one ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, before we let you go, because we can't thank you enough for your time today. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show.
It's getting quite late where you are.
Yeah, I can imagine. What time is it over in India right now?
It's 22:59. So
22:59.
Not too bad.
Almost 11 p.m. Well, thank you so much for staying up late for us. We really do appreciate it. And the last thing I want to talk to you about before we get out of here is your lyrics, because some of the lyrics that you have put into songs are fucking phenomenal. And like the first one I want to ask you about is "We're Indian, so you know we like it hot." Like, That bar floored me when I heard it for the first time. Like, who cooked that one up? And like, was it a
That was all Rahul. That was all Rahul. Yeah.
like?
I mean, he knew even before. I mean, that was his first song with us.
Okay.
And he was just a featuring member at that time. And I don't know how, but he knew that this song is not going to be heard just by, people of our country. So,
Yeah.
he had the foresight.
Genius, absolutely genius. Because I mean, like, especially like, given your background in sort of like, as you said, like putting parodies songs out there into the world, like having someone come straight on board and understand that there's like, you guys have got a sense of humor at the same time with what you do. It's a very fun project. It's got life to it. I mean, like, that also continues on the bar as well. I love the lyric because Desi boys know that diversity is a gift. That one is a fucking gem, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I'll let Rahul know.
Have you found? I was going to ask because I've got Indian heritage in my family, and I'm like growing up. There's never any sort of alternative Indian band or anything to look up to. Have you found that coming over or playing shows, you've found more people coming up and being like, "Oh, I'm so glad there's like representation in the alternative world."
Every single show.
Yeah.
Every single show. People come up to us and say, and it's not just Indians. It's it's people from the Southeast Asian region. Even people from America. People of color. Everyone feels represented, and I feel that's a great thing. It's not just regional. It's kind of global. But also, it also reaches out to people who feel they weren't represented enough in the genre. It happens at every single show. People will come up to us and say it, and even though we the Indian population in our crowd isn't too much. Whenever we're playing shows, probably maybe the maximum number of Indians I've seen at our shows is probably 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and but they're all very, very, very happy that this is happening, and we're also very happy that they come up to us and say that, and that we are able to somehow represent them and make them feel better about our representation in general.
Hell yeah. And have you played shows in India?
We have played, I guess, I'd say 8 shows in India, in total. So that's something.
Hell
for
yeah.
For a metal band to play 8 shows in India, that's really something.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's not even like on, when bands say like we're going on a world tour, it's never really one that you see on like a world touring card. I mean, like in terms of like historical venues, like I'm imagining India's probably got quite a lot of them, but you just don't see them like on your normal touring card.
Yeah, because India is not an easy place to get to.
Yeah.
The flights are insane.
Yeah.
The logistics are just, so you can't really travel from city to city by road. You can if you're brave. But
If you're
you
brave.
can't do that. Yeah. But you can't do that with, tons of gear and, so many people in your crew. You have to take flights every time. And the flights aren't cheap. And, thankfully, the infrastructure is getting better. But I don't see India can be a touring destination, as in you can play one show and then maybe go to Japan or go to maybe Australia. But it's not going to be a place where, you do
like a full run.
5 cities within the country or something like that. No. Yeah.
Damn. Well, hopefully we can start seeing more bands like playing massive shows over there. Because I mean, like in terms of like demographics, India is such a massive demographic. And the last lyric that I want to pull you up on is the one with the WWE reference in it. I'm a big WWE guy. And obviously, like they had Jinder Mahal flying the flag for like the India side with the Singh brothers. Like, but whoever wrote that lyric saying, you say you're going to do none of that fake WWE shit because we keep it real UFC. If you ever cross paths with the rest of that, could get one of you into a little bit of a spicy situation.
Well, that was also all Rahul.
Right. Okay. So you can just go like that. He said it.
To be fair, he looks quite. Yeah. He looks like he can take care of himself.
Oh yeah.
He could fight a wrestler.
Yeah, which is why he's the only guy who said it. I enjoy WWE myself. I've watched it as a kid.
Hell yeah.
And Rahul likes to spice things up in the lyrics, and it's not the only thing that that we've debated on. We do debate a lot on what goes in, what doesn't go in. But yeah, that's the one time where that's one of the things where we decided, all right, we'll take the hit. If something goes wrong, we'll take the hit.
Luckily, it's no beef yet with the wrestlers.
Yes. I mean, like, yeah, if one of them catch wind of that, like, could be in a little bit of trouble. So I mean, just make sure that you're ready to point the finger at the person whose words they actually were.
Yeah, well, I'll let him know. That you like some of his lyrics and do not like the rest.
Oh, massive fan of the lyrics, and like genuinely keep them coming.
I'm kidding.
Don't change anything, because we are massive fans, and like I think the global domination of Bloodywood is only just beginning. Like it's only gonna go and grow.
Well, I was gonna say, you've done so much off your debut album, which a lot of bands could only dream of. So obviously, it's on the next album. No pressure, but expecting bigger and better.
The pressure's been there for a while,
But it sounds like you're very much within the game of handling it, and you got a very good handle on it. So thank you ever so much for your time today, my friend. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We'll let you go and get off the bed and try and get a little bit more post-festival season sleeping.
Thank you so much, guys. It was my pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Legend. Thank you so much.
Karan.
My friends, one time show some love for Karan from Bloodywood. Hell yeah. Thank you, my friend.